Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. Working on the old Massey 202 again, backhoe loader tractor. A while ago the hydraulic pump for the backhoe blew up on me. There's actually there was a gearbox on it. The gearbox is what blew up, not the pump. Because the gearbox, being a gearbox, was filled with oil. But since it's a PTO driven pump and gearbox that was right in that hole there, the oil never ever got checked, and it was impossible to check even if you wanted it to, so it ran low on oil, ran dry, eventually blew up. So I got a new pump. Here's the new pump. It's I think 15 or 16 gallons per minute, which is about the same as the old one. And it's a typical PTO hydraulic pump. I bought this from surpluscenter.com, real great place to buy stuff like this. A side note, I had no idea what the GPM rating of my old pump was, but if you take the pump apart and make some measurements of certain internal components, depending on what kind of pump it is, you can calculate the displacement per revolution. And then, of course, if you know the RPM, you can calculate that into gallons per minute. There are some calculators online where you can do that. So that's how I found out the flow requirement for this pump. So I needed a little bit more clearance. As you see, I torch cut out this hole here. This used to be a flat plate on the bottom, so the bottom of the pump is going to dip in there just a little bit, and I will weld reinforcements underneath it afterwards, but I'm going to leave it open for working on it now. And what I decided to do, you can kind of see it, a little dark, but these splines on the PTO shaft are kind of half smoked because they were just shucking around in there for years with that old hydraulic pump and gearbox. So I really don't want to ruin the splines on a new hydraulic pump with an old shitty PTO shaft. So I'm pulling the old shaft out and replace that. And there's this retainer that holds another retainer on. Take that off. And there's that disc there, and it looks to just be a gentle, not even a press fit, like a slip fit, but over the years it's gotten stuck. So I can't just pull it out, and of course I'm working in a tight space, so I'm going to weld this bolt on the bottom, weld another one on top, and use these slide hammer vice grips and see if I can work it out that way. There's an O-ring on the outside, and there's an O-ring seal on the inside that seals the transmission, or the PTO shaft. And even though I could get this to rotate, I couldn't pull it out. There was nothing to grab onto. And you see I was putting a chisel on there and trying to rotate. I thought it might have been threaded, but it wasn't. So I just put these bolts on here, welded them on, and I used this vice grip slide hammer that I made. I believe I got this idea from weldingtipsandtricks.com. If you like welding, check out that channel. Anyway, so I welded these on, and I slide hammered this one a little bit, and that one, and worked it back and forth, pulled it out, and then the shaft came out. And since it is an oil seal, make sure to have a pan underneath. There was a little over 5 gallons of oil in there, so the oil will come out when this comes out. And here is the shaft. So you can get a closer up look at how beaten up these splines are. So I really just didn't want to ruin the new shaft, or the new PTO splines with this old shaft. So I'm going to buy a new one, get a new bearing, put that on, get a new oil seal, an O-ring, and we'll be all set. And in the meantime, since the tractor is down anyway, I am going to replace some of the hydraulic hoses. Well, we got the old PTO shaft out, put the new bearing and seal on it, slid it in, and did a bunch of test fits on the pump. The pump is a very tight fit in here, and you can see that dark greasy part of the plate. I had to torch cut that out because the very bottom of the pump swooped down maybe an inch below where that plate is. This pump is a lot taller than the original one, so I had to cut some of that plate out and through a bunch of on and off trial and error test fits, which is a pain in the ass because this thing is very heavy. I finally got it to fit nicely, and then I did some more precision clearancing to get the plumbing to fit. Again, real tight quarters, but I got it to work. This, of course, is the suction. That's why there's low pressure fittings on here, and there's the high pressure out. And you see that green bar on the side of the pump there. That's a anti-rotation bar. The pump has two threaded holes on the side that you could bolt a bar like this onto and you know, bump the bar up against anything convenient to prevent the pump from rotating around when it's under a load, or, you know, flopping or vibrating around. So I bolted that on there, and then the last step, since I cut out the bottom part of the this pump housing area, I took some plate steel that I had and I welded it back in. I know it doesn't look very pretty, but it does work, or it will work. I wanted the reinforcement there, or not exactly the reinforcement, but I just wanted to replace the metal that I had cut out. So I welded in these plates. I had to bend this one a little bit again to have clearance for the pump. The downside with this is if the pump ever needs to come out, all that shit has to get torched back off. But I don't think this pump is ever going to come off, knock on wood. So now I got the tractor up on jack stand so I can crawl under here and weld. Yeah, let's take them off the jack stands and give this tractor a try. Well, there you have it, everybody. The old Massey Ferguson is back and operational again, which I'm very happy about. Oddly enough, the hydraulics do seem to act a little bit differently. It feels like some of the levers have detents when it didn't feel like they had detents before, and I don't know. Might just be some water in the hydraulic fluid. I did put fresh fluid in, but maybe, you know, there was some residual bad fluid in the cylinders. I'm not really not sure, but given what it is, it runs great, it digs great. You just have to work within its limitations. So anyway, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's been way too long since my last video. So thanks for watching and subscribing and hanging in there. And make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more.